इससे पहले कि मैं ऐसी उत्कृष्ट हस्तियों के सानिध्य में कुछ बोलूं, I think I can request the audience that those who were awarded this evening deserve a hearty applause. मंच पर विराजमान सर्बानंद जी, जयंत जी और आज इस सभागार में उपस्थित वो सभी महानुभाव जिन्होंने असम को अपने उत्कृष्ट सहयोग से, सेवा से अलंकृत किया, सुशोभित किया, सम्मानित किया। मां कामाख्या की इस पुण्य धरा पर सर्वप्रथम मैं ऐसे अप्रतिम महानुभावों को प्रणाम करती हूं, आपका वंदन एवं अभिनंदन करती हूं। मेरे लिए जयंत जी से मिलकर चर्चा करने का विशेष कारण मात्र ये नहीं कि प्रतिदिन ग्रुप का सर्कुलेशन कितना है। What intrigued me about his life and the legacy of Pratidin was not just a newspaper, a digital engagement, or a women's magazine called Nandini. But the question that drove me was what inspired him to dedicate to the nation a bilingual dictionary in Braille. Ladies and gentlemen, हमने देखा है अपने जीवन में जब कोई व्यक्ति किसी विपदा का सामना करता है, किसी चुनौती का सामना करता है, तब उसके अंदर का मानव उसे विवश करता है कि वो दूसरों के लिए कुछ ऐसी सहायता प्रदान करे ताकि जिन चुनौतियों का सामना उसने किया वो किसी और व्यक्ति के लिए चुनौती ना बने। And that is why when I asked Jayant ji, of all the people I could think of, what drove you to dedicate a dictionary in Braille, in Assamese, in English? I got no response, only a smile, which is rare for somebody who is attached to journalism. Normally, those who are attached to journalism are never in want for words. That smile can be reflected on from many purposes. Some may call it mischief. I would, Jayantaji, call it your humility. And that is what I hope that the state deserves and will continue to get. Many more humble souls that will dedicate themselves to enriching the state and pay tribute to the state's legacy. But what is a state? What is a nation? Not mere a piece of land. I remember I had the good fortune of addressing my colleagues in Parliament and through them the country when I said, and I quoted Atal Bihari Vajpayee who said, भारत कोई भूमि का टुकड़ा नहीं है, एक जीता जागता राष्ट्र पुरुष है। और अटल जी की पंक्तियों को अगर आज मैं याद करूं, उन्होंने कहा था कि ये वंदन की भूमि है और अभिनंदन की भूमि है, और आज प्रतिदिन ने जिन लोगों को पुरस्कृत किया है, भारत वंदनीय क्यों है, अभिनंदनीय क्यों है, उसका सबसे बड़ा उदाहरण आपके अचीवर्स हैं। इस मंच पर अमलन आए मुस्कुराते हुए, नेशनल रिकॉर्ड तोड़ा है, युवा खिलाड़ी हैं, लेकिन अमलन से पहले प्रतिदिन ने अभिजीत भट्टाचार्य को भी सम्मानित किया। 2 generations that have dedicated themselves to excellence in sport without expectation of a reward for recognition. And today when I met Mr. Datta of Downtown, he smiled and he said, I'm 80 years old. And I told Mr. Datta, please do not tell anyone, आपको देखकर कोई अनुमान नहीं लगा सकता. That the youngsters who are gathered here today, can reflect in the glory and the contribution of the achievers, be it our very own Nrityacharya, or for that matter in absentia, those who have been awarded today for art, culture, or Dulal Mankiji. The achievers who have been awarded today, barring Amlan, who is a youngster, all of them are inspirations for generations to come. Today, when I humbly pay homage to many of the achievers, I would like to distinctly speak about a few who have done well in the field of medicine. Dr. Bishash Goswami. There are many who leave their home, their hearth, their state for greener economic pastures. That you came back with your experience and continued to serve the cause not only of medicine but of humanity makes you an inspiration not only for the state of Assam but all of India. I would like to today also pay a cheeky tribute to a youngster. When Rubul Maut stood on this stage to receive felicitation on behalf of the Pratidin group, he smiled when I asked him, "What all do you do?" His wily smile said to me, "Ask me what all can I not do?" That he has been celebrated not only because he's from Harvard, but because he wrote books in Assamese. He used his time to engage with students across the world, to teach them, encourage them in what he calls Sunday science activism. But when I asked Rubul exactly what excites you most, he also added, "I help build libraries for children." That you continue to give the gift of Ma Saraswati forward makes you an inspiration for many in my generation. Today, as I stand here in the reflection of Sarbanand Sonowalji, he spoke about the promise of a Vikasit Bharat that the Honorable Prime Minister speaks of. And we look at a future together where we as a nation state will be developed. But how do we define that development? I remember in 2014 when the Prime Minister said, "Can we become a digital democracy?" He was mocked in Parliament. और उनसे कहा गया कि हिंदुस्तान में ग्रामीण अंचल में कौन डिजिटल इंडिया को सहयोग देगा? ये प्रधान सेवक का ग्रामीण अंचल में साधारण हिंदुस्तानी पर विश्वास था, जो आज डिजिटल डेमोक्रेसी के रूप में विश्व में स्थापित हो चुका है. Ladies and gentlemen, you will be elated to know that in the year 2023, our UPI transactions have touched 100 billion. And very soon, transactions from international credit card companies like MasterCard and Visa will be left behind by the simple UPI transaction made by the ordinary Indian. When the Prime Minister said, "Can we ensure that in a digital democracy, no citizen is left behind?" एक वक्त जो हिंदुस्तान ने देखा जब गरीब हिंदुस्तानी बैंक की चौखट पार नहीं कर सकता था, उस देश में बैंक का अधिकारी गरीब के घर पर जाकर हाथ जोड़कर बैंक का अकाउंट खुलवाने लगा. आज हम इस बात का गौरव कर सकते हैं that the largest amount of bank accounts opened anywhere in the world, that is an achievement only and only attained by India, wherein 500 million bank accounts have been opened. This is a democracy in dialogue and partnership. और इसलिए आज जब हम इन अचीवर्स को देखते हैं, प्रधान सेवक को देखते हैं, 2047 के संकल्प को देखते हैं, we know today, our generation knows that democracy delivers, but the generation that follows us says democracy demands. It demands that we as public servants and public representatives stand shoulder to shoulder with the fourth estate, but at the same time be ready for scrutiny. So when Sarvada says that Pratidin has been nirbhik, उस निर्भीकता का एक सबसे बड़ा संकेत ये कि मीडिया हमारे देश का फोर्थ स्टेट, वो चौथा स्तंभ कि विकास और प्रगति के पथ पर अगर एक कदम भी इधर उधर हो तो वो आईना बनकर जनप्रतिनिधियों के सामने जनता की आवाज बनकर उभरेगा. That Pratidin has managed to become that fourth pillar, not only through newspapers and magazines, but also digitally, is an issue for which you should be complimented. But when I say democracy demands, it demands of all of us as citizens to rise beyond our own needs and ambitions and to look at what the nation state needs. आज इस सभागार में, वर्तमान में, प्रदेश में और राष्ट्र में राजनीतिक पदों पर, शासकीय पदों पर सेवा देने वाले कई महानुभाव उपस्थित हैं. कुछ ऐसे भी जिन्होंने इस प्रदेश की राजनीति को अपने पसीने से सींचा है, अपने त्याग के माध्यम से अलंकृत किया है. Democracy demands that we ensure that we are consistent in our service. And the fact that democracy blossoms, Jayantaji, I think is best enunciated in the achievers that you have on this stage today celebrated. You are the reason why we as Indians are proud. You are the reason why we as citizens are humbled. You are the reason why we as people are inspired. That excellence is not a happenstance. Excellence has to be Pratidin. To all the achievers, my gratitude for your service and your contribution. And to Pratidin, my gratefulness for you today allowed me to bask in their glory. Jai Hind.